Welcome to Software Leaders Uncensored with Steve Taplin.
Welcome to Software Leaders Uncensored, where tech leaders drop the filters and just tell it like it is. I'm your host, Steve Taplin, a serial technology entrepreneur who's launched 30 companies, failed at 20 of those, but scaled 10 of those to success. And I turned that roller coaster of a ride into my book called Fail Hard, Win Big. And this is where I teach you how to turn failure into your biggest competitive advantage and how custom software played a defining role in every win. Now I'm the CEO of Sonatify Technology. We're a US-based software engineering firm that has a mix of resources in the US and Latin America. Today, I am joined by Frank LaSota out of the Chicagoland area, longtime tech veteran, multi-time CTO. Frank, welcome.
Thanks, Steve. Glad to be here, and hope this goes as well as like the Cubs are doing coming from behind against the Brewers.
Yeah, well, hopefully the Cubs won't disappoint like they have the past 100 years. But hey, all right. So Frank, if you would, walk our listeners through the journey of your career and how you ended up as CTO of Zyter TruCare.
Sure. Great question. And out of undergrad, I started the classically trained way. I started as a software developer, ASP VB Plus, battle for the middle tier.
Oh man, you're old like me.
Yeah, for sure. Aging like a fine wine, right?
That's right.
That's it.
And I'm more of a Scotch guy, so I'll say more like Scotch than wine, but I'm with you.
And so I started my career at Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield before it was a publicly traded company, and really worked in various departments there, tackling different object-oriented projects within the commercial and federal space. I've always had a knack for really, I'd say, wanting an adventure within IT, always questioning why things are the way they are and why can't we improve them. And, and then being able to build things from the ground up, like your career, custom software platforms, you just grab onto something, solve a problem, and then you're kind of addicted to it, right? And it snowballs. So I was able.
I'm a big believer that all of us, whether it's in your career, whether it's for your personal wealth, it's your ability to solve more challenges than everyone else.
Yeah, and this might be a weird analogy. I grew up playing sports, and I attribute a lot to what I encountered in sports in accomplishing IT goals, because there's unknowns, there's challenges, there's, when you look at process optimization or orchestrating change, it's like a trick play, right? You don't know what's really behind the scenes until you kind of really get into it and have to think on your feet. And my programming background really provided me a great launching point into understanding business processes, business process reengineering, and then allowed me to work in various different architecture capacities. And then I call it, at one point in my career, I made the shift to the dark side. I went over to infrastructure and mid-range, so heavy.
Important to learn all aspects of it, right?
Yeah. So you get into enterprise platforms at scale, you get into the Unix world, operating data centers. I found that fascinating as well. So I took on those challenges, really understood soup to nuts kind of the IT realm and everything. I wanted to absorb every type of technology. And I could say, I wasn't really good at all of them, but they intrigued me, right? And I would do my best to learn, make relationships, understand different business philosophies, go to market strategies, and had the opportunity to do key projects. Like I remodeled a 30-year-old data center and got it certified as uptime tier 3, where critical infrastructure for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid ran in, with very high visibility in the public eye. I've done packaged software, custom implementations from an architecture hands-on. And then I'm like, well, I had the opportunity to lead some critical projects, got into the people side, got into the financial side. and really rolled through Anthem in about 16 and a half years, really escalating the complexity of projects that I worked on. The people I integrated with got more tied to go to market with producing products for various entities. And I really like the high visibility nature of it. And really, it's not stress, it's more pressure, right? Being an ex athlete, I like the pressure to like really excel and perform, work as a team, train people. So more leadership responsibility came then, but it was still designing, architecting software, solving business problems that haven't been solved before, and was really great. I finished up my time at Anthem within their National Government Service Group as their federal chief information officer. So I worked through the management ranks, and I was in charge of a a system integration business, built whether it's building custom software, infrastructure solutions on the federal side. And it was great. After that, I had the opportunity to go to a company called Evolent Health, where we were a BPaaS provider, and we had our own claims, clinical, and specialty healthcare system. And it was all cloud based. Needed really to solidify that portion of my portfolio in terms of skills, leadership, how software is developed differently. Got into a little bit of generative AI, but did some M&A there, really refactored products to make them cloud native, integrate them with cloud first products in Azure, and really drive the market there. And I came in and stabilized their health plan software business, and then was promoted to CTO where I had a good run. And it's just strategy for cloud was fantastic. Loved the changes between a traditional go-to-market P&L but my love for technology, love for software development, engineering really kicked off a whole new level. And then kind of getting exposed to AI and developing some product integrations there. Fantastic. And then on to Zyter. How I chose Zyter was I wanted to go someplace that had a very strong footprint in healthcare. And I would say the industry that I'm in, over time, I developed a very caring passion for, because I was exposed to situations throughout my career where you could actually make a difference in the people that you serve's lives, whether it's on
And
the commercial
we
side or
need more
federal.
smart people in healthcare tech because there's tons of problems to solve,
Yeah.
to say the least.
And when you're able to impact in a positive way one person or a situation, it's truly career fulfilling, because you have to deal with all the press and kind of downside of what's in the news. But when you actually get to see it, it just makes you want to jump out of bed, hit the ground running every day. And
So
Z-
tell us more about Zyter and what Zyter does. And is it
Zyter,
Zyter TruCare? Do it just go by Zyter? Educate
yeah,
me.
yeah. So it's Zyter TruCare. TruCare is our population health platform. It has care management components, utilization management, population health. Also, our next gen product suite jumps off that. We have Agentic AI orchestration products, ontology, collaboration, um, integration products. But the core that drew me to Zyter was you're actually helping people get through real situations. Everybody knows about a prior auth experience that has, gotten hung up in the process, or, people with chronic conditions, and how they can be affected if they're on a care management plan or working in disease management. So the product itself and its suite of components have been around for 15 plus years, really have about 45 million lives on the platform across our customer base. And really to be able to jump in with the vision our CEO and chairman have for this company, it was fantastic. I look at it as a once in a lifetime opportunity, and to be able to leverage, 15, 20 years of leadership to come in here and build in a 0 to 1 context. And, we're looking to take our agentic AI platform and really transform the care management arena. We just were rated
Well, and
number one. Yeah.
let's get into that. But first, so how did you've been in this role a little less than a year. How did you land this position? I know, being a CTO is a big target on your back.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just can't please everyone. I know our listeners love to hear how CTOs are obtaining their roles.
Yeah. And, I've had a good track record as an executive leader previous to this. So I had the foundational components, but every new role is a tryout. Like you're trying
Yes.
out for a new team. I was recruited by an executive agency to interview for these positions, and things went well. The company was right. The CEO, chairman, other executive leaders, the technology was right. And, you have to be able to handle and manage pressure in these roles. You can't be all things to all people. You have to have a pragmatic perspective. You have to be able to juggle many balls in the air at once, but provide clear delineation on vision, strategy, goals to your staff. And you're going to expect things not to go
So
100%.
you didn't just see a job ad and click on it on LinkedIn. You, an
Mhm.
executive recruiting agency,
Mhm.
was following your track record and introduced the opportunity.
Yeah. And very grateful for that, because I had interviewed at this point in my career too. I'm looking for the right opportunity, the right company to get vested in, really have the company behind you, and support from executive leadership and the operational components of the business as well, and have a good, strong executive team to go to market and deliver the vision. Because the product strategy, the technical product management, all of that is only kind of a part of the equation. How you gel as an executive team is very important. And you have to be driven. You have to know where landmines are. You have to anticipate, and every day is a new day. And I really like that, because it's not stagnant. It's not like,
Keeps you
hey,
on your toes.
yeah. And I think it keeps you lively, and keeps you young too. Your thought
Well, tell us
processes,
about
and
some current projects you're working on.
yeah. Some of the great projects we're working on here are, I'll just stick with agentic AI, because we're transforming into an AI company. And I wanted to, solidify that point by Everest. Yes, they're a ratings organization like Gartner or Forrester. They just ranked us number one in their peak performance matrix for AI based care management platform. So a lot
That's
of
awesome. That's
competition.
a huge feat.
Well, yeah, a lot of competition there, a lot of great companies, and you got to earn it every day. You can't rest and say, hey, we got this, a flash in the pan one time. And so I think our AI orchestration platform, it's called Symphony. There's a couple of components to it, is a real differentiator in the market. And we're getting ready to launch our next generation of not only the core population health products, but Symphony as well, early Q1 next year, with a soft launch. And our differentiator, and what makes working on this project awesome, is not only the technologies, not only, the different LLMs, the cutting edge nature of how we're employing it, but it's looking at problems and care management, utilization management, and population health in an extremely different way. We have this philosophy called Recode, where we go into all of our customers and look at their business processes and their pain points, right? And really decompose those and re-engineer those business processes agentically, where, agents are talking to each other. They're trained to really solve problems, next best decision, allowing not only better care, but costs to be taken out of healthcare. And, we're really pushing hard. And the great thing about it too is we leverage other CIO, CTO investments because the AI market is changing every three
Daily.
months.
Yes, it's hard to
And
keep up with.
yeah, and there's a tremendous amount of work that we've done to keep up and try to stay ahead of that curve. And, over the past 2 years, there's been a tremendous proliferation in AI, right? Point solutions, bespoke solutions. And a McKinsey article came out like a month or so ago about, top tier large companies, CIOs, CTOs not getting a return on their investment. So that really drives our strategy, not only within the product, not only within the tech, but how we deploy. We're able to come into a healthcare payer organization and really look at what they've deployed, say their Databricks, say they've invested in Microsoft, Palantir, could ride alongside, right along top. We don't have really a rip and replace model if you don't want that, because we connect within the ecosystem and understand the clinical side in an in-depth manner where we're able to orchestrate, re-engineer the processes, and then use our technology and agentic AI platform, intelligent agents, to do that. And that's
Well,
everybody's
tell us
heads
about
down.
your software engineering team that's pulling all this off. How many
Mm,
engineers you have,
mm.
where they're
Yeah.
located, your work model.
Yeah, we've got about 250 plus engineers, mainly in Hyderabad and Bangalore. We run in a traditional Kanban approach with Agile, the product organization, a lot of product strategy. We have AI innovation tailored in within the product organization, which really allows us to pilot and POC and show savings before we deploy. We also build our agentic or our ML model layer from that standpoint and then integrate it into our product and agentic layers, more back end. We do what you would think of from a traditional product shop strategy, technical product management, partner relationship, product ops, operate in a pod structure, 7 engineers, 2 QAs, and really move through that work. And we also have engineering. It's AI led, have a VP over that group, VP over product, a VP over cloud platform. So it's DevOps, SRE based code pipelines. And really too, we have to keep the lights on. So people think in an organization like ours, you're focused heads down 100% of the time on new product. We have an excellent customer base. We love our customers. We love supporting their mission, and we have to really keep the lights on there with our current version of products that we are in the process of sunsetting over really the next
The,
18
the
months.
fine balance of creating the
Yeah.
latest and greatest and maintaining the existing. Now you have engineers in the US and India. Are
Mhm.
they remote? Are they in person?
I would say uh, 85+% of everyone is remote. Um, I have a philosophy where if you can work together remotely and we can accommodate your lifestyle, it makes you bring more to work, right? You look at the traditional commuting days, whether you're on the train. I mean, you grew up in
Yeah.
Chicago, lived there for a while. I mean,
It could
you're on the
take you
metro.
2 hours to get to work door to door.
Yeah. And, Wi-Fi only helps so much write code on the train, right? So you can save those hours and make them more productive, and you accommodate what really the engineering staff wants is really to be laser focused, not have to context switch and drive. And there are and drive outcomes, because outcomes are what we're all about at the end of the day, not only from a code based perspective, but changing and delivering better outcomes with our customers from an overall product and platform perspective. And then just circling back, we have maybe 15% that like to come into the office, prefer to come into the office, but mainly remote. The challenge with remote is you have to be more communicative and more willing to meet people and be outgoing than you do kind of in the office. Um, I look at my in the office days. You could have two people sitting next to each other in cubes that could see each other's heads, but are IMing each other. They won't
Yep.
talk, right? And um, getting people to talk and communicate and solve problems that way is really key. You short cycle the time, whether it's the IMs, the Slacks, the emails, and really solve problems that way. And I think, it's a
I
balance.
agree with you. Remote work is a great thing. Back before the pandemic, you had to earn your spot to be remote by being senior, by being a performer, and making sure the teams are productive are key. Now, how do you manage time zone differences with your US based and India based team?
Yeah, we will operate with a swing shift for the gap in the hours, whether that is, from a cloud platform or support arena or your traditional software development. So we're able to operate around the clock. And that helps when, our current customer needs or, our next gen product development with Symphony and being able to maximize time. And, a lot of our even US based resources are used to operating in this cadence. I mean, um, and for me, I've kind of grown up like my tour and infrastructure and being able to stay up for a couple days on like a P1 SWAT call, I think paid dividends over the long run too. So, we just operate in that manner and it works well for us. It might not work for, you know, other companies or different leaders and their styles. But, I look at, I'm a fair, firm, and consistent type person. You're going to demonstrate that we can do this through what you output and achieve. I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to be your biggest fan, but I'm going to hold you accountable. Right. And so, as part of this, global operation, we also, are able to monitor progress through, how we intake work, assign out work, monitor productivity. And it's nothing, looking over your shoulder. You're expected to perform and do the basics, right? And I call it focusing on the fundamentals. And if you're able to do that well, you're able to train the new people and take on more complex work. And you just iterate through that cycle.
So, Frank, here we are in Q4 2025. As a tech leader, what's the biggest challenge you're facing now?
Really, how to, and that's a great question because you could have hours on that topic, but it's really how to innovate from an agentic AI perspective and then integrate that innovation into the enterprise resiliency that our customers expect out of projects and products, then accompanied with navigating and managing change within that ecosystem, because we can be going a mile a minute showing outcomes, showing through our products and, projects we do for our customers, all of the benefits. But some of our companies, that our customers' ecosystems are very large, very complex. So spending the time there to navigate, to understand, to re-engineer is really key because you don't want to force feed. You don't want to have abrasion. You really want to walk a mile in their shoes and bring that input back and not stifle innovation, but really kind of contain it and direct it in the right place, right? We might have forward looking because we do our own modeling as well as, kind of bring your own, in RAG. But, that operates at its own pace all the time. But product innovation too is like, hey, we can be innovative on a small scale, tailor it to what our market is demanding, the changes and all that. But it's definitely like the three-legged stool, just in different equation. And that for this quarter and then going into next year, really going to be front of mind for me.
So you mentioned earlier various reports out there on how generative AI pilots are failing at large companies. MIT did one back in August now saying 95%, seeing zero to no ROI. And what's your take? Why are so many organizations failing at their AI efforts?
I think the rush to implement something to solve a point solution has contributed to this. Like you look at like I think people in the industry think AI is a lot like RPA, right? And you're investing all this money in technology, in AI. You look at, on scale, and the technology is best of breed, it's best in class, but what's not being solved is the customer problem, understanding that at a financial business process at a component level, because you're implementing the same solutions on top of the same business problems. And it we do the real hard work. And I know this is a CTO podcast, but the rest of the team that we work with in transformation and in business process reengineering, hats off to them because they're embedded in these companies pushing for that change. Because if you're going to not change how you traditionally operate. And in some cases, these processes have been tuned over 20 years plus and tens of millions of dollars spent. So
Yep.
that's, why my personal opinion, why these are failing. And it's just more tech, more 3-year projects, right? On an enterprise scale of platform migrations and all of that. And our philosophy is completely different. We're not here to implement commodity agents, commodity AI solutions. We want to really re-engineer the business and the process because there's going to be things that benefit our platform and products in addition to what benefits the company. And I think you kind of saw this too with like the first foray into cloud. You had people in enterprises going, hey, I'm going to use bare metal. I'm going to move my stuff in to bare metal. And then not knowing that cloud is a very transparent cost model and that you didn't have your own IT processes, cost model, et cetera, under control. Now you're wondering, why am I just rehosting infrastructure at a higher price, right? Not tied to
Yeah.
strategy. And I think AI
That was
is
the big
at this
mystery,
level.
and cloud is just somebody else's data center.
Yeah, it's just
Frank,
really.
thank you so much for getting uncensored with us today. Appreciate you walking us through your journey. You're truly a guy who's touched all parts of tech from different angles. Glad to have smart people like you on the healthcare innovation side. Before we wrap, what's some no BS advice you have for tech leaders who are out there trying to build, scale, or even just survive?
My advice is really, you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You don't have to outthink everybody in the room. You have to be a quick learner and a quick relationship builder and orchestrator. You need to orchestrate faster than your teams. You need to really get out in front of where your products are going, where your platforms are, and just build that. If you have a myopic view where I'm going to build this, I'm going to control this, this is my absolute technical direction, you're going to fail. There are very few people in the world that can do that. And everybody that you read about and run these amazing companies that in front and center in popular culture and in industry. But for everybody else, you have to recognize that it's really the team, the strategy, and having good products that can adapt and be market forward that will overcome. And you have to really run that, steer the ship the correct way. And, I will get into technical arguments with my staff and, and challenge. But we're all learning, right? I'm asking questions
Sure.
because there might be things I'm thinking about 4 or 5 steps down the pike that aren't yet necessarily front and center to what they're working on. So that is my key advice. Always be ready for the unexpected and don't be afraid really to fail or misstep.
Frank, thank you so much. That's it for this episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. I'm Steve Taplin. If you enjoyed the show, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, well, we'll just send it to your competitors. Probably the edge they need. Remember to fail hard, win big, and always build what matters. See you next time. That's a wrap. Another great episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun doing this show. I love talking with great tech leaders. As a side note, if you're interested, check out my new book, Fail Hard, Win Big. This is the story of how I built 30 companies, failed on 20, and turned 10 into multi-million-dollar wins. The common thread with all of them was custom software. Also, if you need software development help out there, my company, Sonatify Technology, we deliver world-class software development engineers out of Latin America. We have a solid track record of helping companies launch better products and faster. Thanks again for listening. Appreciate it and appreciate you.